You know what's exhausting? Caring about everything, every opinion, every outcome, every little thing that could possibly go wrong. I used to be that person, the one who would replay conversations in my head for days, wondering if I said the wrong thing. The one who would check social media constantly, measuring my worth by likes and comments. The one who would lie awake at night, anxious about things that hadn't even happened yet. I attached emotions to everything. A delayed text message? They must hate me. A project didn't go perfectly? I'm a complete failure. Someone disagreed with my opinion? My entire worldview must be wrong. I was drowning in my own thoughts. And then, I picked up a book with a title I wasn't sure I should say out loud in public. But that book? It changed everything. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson isn't what you think it is. It's not about being indifferent or careless. It's not about becoming cold or detached from life. It's about something far more powerful. Choosing what actually deserves your energy. And trust me, once you understand this concept, you'll wish someone had told you about it years ago. So stick with me for the next few minutes, because I'm about to share the insights that literally rewired how I think about success, happiness, and life itself. Here's the brutal truth Mark Manson opens with. We all have a limited amount of fucks to give. Our time, our energy, our attention, they're all finite. But somehow, we've been conditioned to spread them thin across everything. Social media taught us to care about what strangers think of our breakfast. Self-help culture taught us we should be happy all the time. Society taught us that we need to be extraordinary, that average isn't enough. But here's what nobody tells you. When you care about everything, you actually care about nothing. You become so scattered, so anxious, so overwhelmed that you can't focus on what truly matters. I was living proof of this. I cared about my career, but also about what my college friends were doing. I cared about my health, but also about being invited to every social event. I cared about my goals, but also about not disappointing anyone, ever. The result? I was achieving nothing meaningful and feeling miserable while doing it. Mark Manson's first game-changing insight is this. Not giving a fuck doesn't mean being indifferent. It means being comfortable with being different. Let that sink in. The people who seem like they don't care, they actually care deeply, but only about the right things. They've chosen their values carefully. They've decided what's worth their energy and what isn't. Think about it. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. Why? Because he didn't give a fuck about fashion. He gave all his fucks about innovation. Warren Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958. Why? Because he doesn't give a fuck about impressing others. He gives his fucks to building value. This hit me hard. I realized I was giving my fucks away to things I didn't even value. I was stressing about Instagram aesthetics when I didn't even care about being an influencer. I was worrying about others' opinions when I didn't respect their judgment anyway. The book taught me to ask myself, what am I choosing to care about, and why? The second lesson completely flipped my understanding of happiness. The key to a good life is not giving a fuck about more things, but giving a fuck about less things. Only the things that are true, immediate, and important. Manson destroys the toxic positivity culture. He says suffering is inevitable. Pain is part of life. And that's okay. The question isn't, how do I avoid problems? The real question is, what problems do I want to have? Think about that. Every path involves struggle. Being an entrepreneur, you'll struggle with uncertainty and risk. Having a stable job, you'll struggle with monotony and office politics. Being single, you'll struggle with loneliness. Being in a relationship, you'll struggle with compromise. The secret isn't eliminating struggle, it's choosing struggles that align with your values. I used to complain about everything being hard. After reading this book, I started asking myself, is this a struggle I'm willing to have? If yes, I leaned in. If no, I let it go. That simple shift transformed my life. Here's the lesson that hit hardest. You are not special. Now, before you close this video, hear me out. This isn't depressing, it's liberating. We've been raised in a generation that tells everyone they're extraordinary, that they're destined for greatness, that they deserve to be famous and successful just for existing. But Manson argues that this expectation of being special is actually what makes us miserable. Because when reality doesn't match up, when we're not the youngest CEO, the most followed influencer, the most successful in our friend group, we feel like failures. The truth? Most of us are pretty average, and that's not just okay, it's beautiful. Accepting that you're not special frees you from the crushing weight of having to prove yourself constantly. It allows you to find happiness in ordinary moments, in a good conversation, in progress, not perfection, in being useful rather than recognized. I stopped trying to be extraordinary and started trying to be consistent. I stopped chasing viral moments and started building something meaningful. And paradoxically, that's when things actually started working out. Another powerful concept from the book: you are always choosing. Even when you think you're stuck, you're choosing. You're choosing to stay in that toxic relationship. You're choosing to remain in that job you hate. You're choosing to keep scrolling instead of working on your goals. Manson says we love to blame circumstances, other people, our past, anything but ourselves. But the moment you realize that you're always choosing, you take back your power. This was uncomfortable for me to accept. It meant I couldn't play the victim anymore. I couldn't blame my parents, my environment, my bad luck. I had to own my choices. But with that discomfort came freedom. If I was choosing my current situation, I could also choose a different one. I started making better choices. Not perfect choices, better ones. And slowly my life started reflecting those choices. The final lesson I want to share. Action isn't just the effect of motivation, it's also the cause. We wait to feel motivated before we act. But Manson flips this on its head. He says, do something and inspiration will follow. This is backed by psychology. Action creates momentum. Even small actions. Even imperfect actions. I used to wait until I felt ready to start projects, to have difficult conversations, to make changes. But I never felt ready, so nothing happened. After reading this book, I adopted a new approach. Do something. Anything. Even if it's small and messy. Want to be a writer? Write a bad paragraph? Want to get fit? Do 5 push-ups? Want to build a business? Make 1 phone call? Action doesn't follow motivation. Action creates it. So what are the practical takeaways? How do you actually apply this? First, do a fuck audit. Write down what you're currently giving fucks about. Then ruthlessly cross out anything that doesn't align with your core values. Be honest with yourself. Second, choose your struggles. What pain are you willing to endure? What hard thing do you actually want to work toward? Commit to that struggle. Third, accept responsibility. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances. Start acting from where you are, with what you have. Fourth, embrace being average. Find peace in the ordinary. Build a life that's meaningful to you, not impressive to others. Fifth, Take action. Stop waiting for motivation. Start with 5 minutes. Start with one small step. Just start. Implementing these principles didn't make my life perfect. I still have bad days. I still face challenges. I still make mistakes. But I'm no longer paralyzed by overthinking. I no longer attach my self-worth to every little outcome. I no longer scatter my energy across 1,000 meaningless things. I've learned to say no without guilt, to prioritize ruthlessly, to pursue what matters and let go of what doesn't. And honestly, I'm happier. Not because my circumstances are perfect, but because I've stopped demanding that they should be. The subtle art of not giving a fuck taught me that life isn't about avoiding problems. It's about finding problems worth solving. It's not about constant happiness. It's about meaningful struggle. It's not about being special. It's about being honest. But here's the thing. Mark Manson didn't stop there. A few years later, he wrote a follow-up that goes even deeper. It's called Everything is Fucked, a book about hope. And if you thought the subtle art challenged your thinking, wait until you hear what Manson has to say about hope, meaning, and why our modern world feels so broken. In my next video, I'm breaking down Everything is Fucked and exploring whether hope itself might be the problem. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me, what's one thing you're going to stop giving a fuck about? Thanks for watching. Now go choose your struggles wisely.